What is good, guys? It is your host, Mr. Ghost, with the Real Talk Podcast. And in today's episode, we'll be going over Jim Clyburn's statement on CNN to their GOP panelists over there, pretty much telling them that Trump has to feed the people. I'm going to give you the lowdown on that and give you the full truth, whether if he's correct, if he's wrong, and what is a rainy day fund for SNAP. That is something new to me. I never knew there was a such thing. But we'll dive deeper into that towards the end of the video. But in a government shutdown, guys, nobody wins. You know what I'm saying? And we have lost our way within our political arena where it's no longer country above party. You know what I'm saying? It's more of these politicians has become trustees. They have not become leaders. You know what I'm saying? They're not representing the American people no more. They're trustees over money. And we have to get back to where our governance is literally for the people, by the people. You know, there's no winners in a government shutdown, whether it's Democratic-led or Republican-led. The American people hurt at the end of the day. Am I all for smaller government? Less wasteful spending? Of course. That's how you're going to reduce the deficit. And we'll be talking about that little part about the reduction of the deficit and maybe in a few episodes. We're going to be discussing that because we're finding out that the deficit is slightly going down. Not by a significant margin, but enough to where you're going to start seeing impacts from what Trump's been doing. But this government shutdown, guys, is very important to understand once again how civics work. In the Senate, you need about 60 people to vote to get anything passed. So once again, if you have the majority as Republican, you need some Democrats to side with you to get things done. I like that because there's not one party over the other is going to have that majority rule. It's what's benefiting the American people. And I noticed with our Congress over these past few decades, it's not really what's for the American people. It's for the lobbyists, the interest groups that line their pockets, their big donors. We have to get lobbyists out of our government, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not benefiting the American people. You know, we have healthcare insurance companies pretty much lobbying this shutdown because they want more subsidies. And Obamacare is broken. I don't think not one person in this country would disagree with that. You know, it's very clear it's riddled with fraud. Premiums are going up, deductibles are going up, nothing is affordable. That's why they have these subsidies. And by the way, these subsidies have a sunset date. And if Democrats truly, really wanted to fix this problem, they shouldn't have voted it into law with a sunset date. So at the end of the day, you're defeating the purpose of fixing the issue. You're just putting a Band-Aid on an open wound. And at the end of the day, it's not going to help it heal. But we, the American people, have to start holding our government accountable. We have to start speaking truth with the facts over our governance because they work for us. We got to stop this political divide where it is. I mean, granted, the left has been kind of out there of late, like really bad. I mean, no matter where you turn, you're finding leftist type people that are either protesting ICE deporting illegals or they're protesting Trump for making America win. It makes no sense. Then you have left-leaning people that are celebrating the death of somebody. And it's like we've lost our moral compass in this country. And I think as Americans, I don't care what political spectrum you're on, you would want this country to win. And if you don't want this country to win, you could kindly leave. You don't have to stay here. Go to the UK, go to France, go to Germany. We want Americans to win at the end of the day. And we're going to be going over this video. I'm not going to waste no more of your time. That was my little intro. Let's rock into this, guys. All right, let's get into this, guys. 8 Dems break ranks with party voting to reopen the government. It should be country over party at anything that we're voting for, as long as it benefits the American people and it benefits this country.
Plan that Republicans are putting forward, because you do hear over and over and over again that Obamacare is terrible. You hear it every single time from Republicans. This is a mess. Why do subsidies need to exist? But I have yet to hear a robust plan from Republicans.
Well, generally, they want more free market choices. They want people to feel like that their insurance actually is usable. Right now, premiums are really high. Deductibles are really high. I mean, I don't know about you all, but I know tons of people who have insurance that would tell you, it doesn't even feel like I have insurance at all. I pay. Look, I have a small business back in Kentucky. Every year I get a letter from the people that we get our insurance from. Your premiums that you pay for your employees are going up, 10, 15, 20%. I can tell you this, the insurance benefits never get better.
That's
and the employees that I have would tell you, it doesn't ever feel like they're, any better off because of it. We pay more, but the health outcomes and the insurance benefits they get aren't any better. In fact, sometimes they're worse. And so it just feels broken, and it feels like you don't really have any choices. To me,
but you don't have choices because Republicans have not shown a robust plan. I hear the diagnosis of the problems, but where is the legislation, the full legislation that you can say, hey, we're going to replace this. This is our plan. Obamacare is over here. We don't want this.
I'm not sure Republicans are going to be for a government-run or government-mandated system. What they're going to be for is free market choices, giving people more choices that would probably drive down costs and put them in more direct touch with their own health care. Right now, they're in touch with insurance companies, which don't do anything.
But you know what, Scott, there's a lot of things in Obamacare, there's a lot of things in the ACA that Americans like, whether they are Republicans or Democrats or anything in between. The idea that you can't get kicked out of health care because of a pre-existing condition, the idea that there's no caps, all of these things are things that we've all benefited from, particularly the neediest amongst us. Look, I think this issue is not going to go away. And we're going to be talking about this because we're going to hear horrible stories. Mm-hmm. People are not going to...
Real quick, when you look at the subsidies that they're referring to, guys, there is no income cap. That is the problem. We've talked about this in another episode. I don't think that if you're making, let's say, $1 million a year, that you should be getting some kind of subsidy from the government. You know what I'm saying? If you're making $150,000 as a single individual, you don't need government subsidy. I mean, if you're making $150,000 a year in a family of 4, maybe might need a little bit of help, right? I'm all for regulation over our healthcare insurance companies. I've said this a few times. I have health problems, and I need to sleep with a mask at night, and my doctor switched me from a CPAP to a BiPAP, and it took a year for my insurance company, not my doctor, the insurance company, to get all their ducks in a row to say, okay, yep, he really needs it. Obamacare is broken, guys. And yes, I could agree with some of these panelists saying that the Republicans should put forth some kind of plan to fix it instead of keep putting Band-Aids on it. That's not going to benefit the American people. And yes, everybody wants lower premiums. Everybody wants lower deductibles. And private healthcare insurance companies do work. But we got to regulate and put in there ways where we could prevent these companies from jacking up the prices. Because if you ever go like for Spectrum or something, when you go get your internet package or your TV package, and every year that price goes up, it's the same idea when it comes to the insurance companies. Every year they will have to adjust and raise the premiums, raise the deductibles, and it does feel like you really don't got healthcare insurance at the end of the day. So I could agree with some of the things these people are saying. There is a problem with Obamacare. We got to get to the core issues of Obamacare, especially with the fraud of it, and actually fix the problem. Stop putting these sunset dates. Let's put it within concrete and have things get fixed.
To be able to afford their insurance. I don't think even with subsidies, they're going to be able to afford the premiums that are hiking up 100, 200, 300%.
Wasn't Obamacare supposed to fix that?
When people, no, well, not without the universal, I mean, there's
Affordable Care Act.
Yeah,
Affordable was the first word.
The Republicans have been chipping away at the ACA, and I think this is going to be the death of the ACA. But it's also going to be the death of some Americans who don't go get screenings, who don't get diagnosed early enough in order to get treatment, who go in and instead of being
kinda
stage
extreme.
1 cancer are going to be stage 4 cancer. And we're going to hear horrible stories because Americans are going to choose to drop health insurance that they cannot afford. And we as a country have got to figure this issue out.
You asked Scott about, just real quick, you asked him about what the Republican plan is, and he couldn't answer. There's no plan.
I literally said
and the
free
thing
market,
about Donald
more
Trump is
choices,
he's
lower
not,
costs.
he's
That's
not,
a
the thing
concept.
about
In
Donald
touch
Trump
with
is he's not an
doctors, not
outsider
insurance
anymore.
companies.
He's
They're
been in
still
government a
us.
very
Savings
long period
accounts.
of time. And then to your point about the SNAP's benefit, about Democrats being the party of humility, a government shutdown is an ugly business. Two wrongs don't make a right. Donald Trump was the one that refused that the rainy day fund that SNAP had
No, Democrats
be
refused
let
to
out.
open the
No,
government.
they refused.
They
There was
refused to
there was a
open the
rainy day
government.
fund in place for that very reason of a possible government shutdown. Two courts ruled against it. He has to do it. He still may not comply. Who knows? So don't say that's a Republican talking
Democrats
point.
voted
But back
to
to the
keep the
health care.
government shut down.
Obamacare, there's issues with it, but if you break it, you bought it. We can fix it within the system, or we can do something else. Your point about making it privatized, there's a lot of private health care insurance out there. None of it is affordable.
But
And if you think of
Congressman,
getting rid of an
you've
affordable
been in
option would make
Congress
it
and you
more
have
so.
seen vote after vote after vote to repeal Obamacare. And
All right,
the
before we get into Representative Clyburn's statement, I could agree with some of what this young gentleman said. That yes, obviously, you know, when it comes to privatized healthcare insurance, I believe it would work if we regulate it. That's my belief. I think if we regulate it to a point where they can't jack the prices and the deductibles, the premiums and all that to where it's unaffordable. Once again, if you're making hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions per year, I know this is going to come off very harsh. I don't think you need healthcare insurance. You should be able to afford a hospital bill. You should be able to afford your health care. That's just my food for thought. And I find it very ironic, like a lot of liberals will not own up to the Democrats shutting down the government. Okay? And that is a sticking point to me because if you make a mistake, it is the right way is to own up to that mistake. And not one Democrat, besides the 8 that finally came across the aisle, said, yeah, this is kind of wrong. We shouldn't keep the government shut down. But the majority of the Democrats, the majority of liberals in this country, keeps blaming Republicans for this shutdown. You know what I'm saying? I did not know about a rainy day fund. Now it makes sense. But once again, we shouldn't have a rainy day fund. I'm going to hit the same note I did with the healthcare thing. We should never have that rainy day fund. Government should never shut down. We are the only Western country, Western civilization country that has a government shutdown. You know how embarrassing that is? And listen, I'm all for small government, less wasteful spending, as long as it works for the American people. We could go over and over when it comes to certain federal agencies that have done nothing but harm this country. And the education department is one of them. But let these guys continue.
is to replace it with what?
Nothing, a concept.
Correct.
We're still here in the time. When two courts said to Trump, feed these children, he has appealed that.
Why can't those
Why
two
won't he
judges?
feed the children?
Why won't Democrats feed the children? Why don't we
what
have
do you mean?
Why don't we have two judges say to Democrats, you must vote to open the government because kids are hungry?
Wait, here's the
What
thing.
two
Do two
judges?
unelected judges have that authority?
Just
I don't
answer
think
the
so.
question. You can
Why?
answer the question with your question all you want to, but the fact of the matter is,
An unelected judge probably does not have the authority to
believe-
tell the executive
Well, there
branch
are
what to
three
do.
different branches
Well,
of
they
government.
This
did.
is my question.
They can and then they
Those are
did.
supposed to be
And
called-
Do you believe a
SNAPs
judge?
can work without.
Do you believe as a member of Congress, a judge can compel the executive to spend money that you haven't appropriated?
yes, I do.
Oh.
Yes, I do.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought we didn't want kings.
Nobody
Maybe we
wants
need
that.
king for a day. What do we need? I mean,
Okay, but wait.
that is literally a king spending money that is not
Judge
appropriated.
is not a king. The
No, you're
judge-
turning the president into one if he
No,
can
no.
spend without appropriation.
Well, now, if you got a rainy day fund, it was appropriated at
Correct.
one time. The fund didn't come out of the air. The money is sitting there. Now, they didn't appropriate it yesterday or the day before, but the money was appropriated last year sometime, and the rainy day fund was there for this purpose.
Who
And rather than
appropriated
use
the,
it
who
for
appropriated,
that,
who appropriated the $40 billion for Argentina?
My view is, look, you guys have been railing against Trump being authoritarian, having too much power, too much executive power. And at the same time, Democrats have been arguing that he should go out and spend money that has not been appropriated this
money
year
Has been appropriated.
by
It's
Congress.
$3 billion that's in a rainy day fund.
Where did the rainy day fund come from?
Was it specifically for this purpose?
Yes, correct. It was
I don't know.
three. It was three. I know for a fact it was $3 billion that's appropriated through SNAPs, specifically for either disaster relief situations or government shutdown. Trump said he didn't want to spend the money. People are going hungry because of it.
Because Democrats voted to keep the
But
government
we should
closed.
be clear that the shutdown that happened before this was the second longest. It was during the Trump administration. And guess what? SNAP was funded.
Correct.
So this one is different.
So you heard that correctly. Representative Clyburn is simply telling the panelists that, yeah, if the money's not appropriated yet, a federal judge can simply tell the president to spend that money, and essentially making him a king. And he wasn't saying yes to the constituency fund. And, that'd be a whole different debate, whether if the funds were really there, whether if they weren't, and why Trump didn't release them. Why didn't Trump push his administration to release those funds is unknown to me. If you have knowledge of why it wasn't, let me know in the comments down below. I could speculate maybe Trump had some knowledge that there was going to be a breakthrough, and let's not waste this money right now because we're going to be open within a few days or maybe within a week or two. And another thing, as I said before, I think you Americans need to stop relying upon the government. Like, you become way too dependent and way too reliant on this government, and you are desperate when times like this happens. Yes, I think the government should help its people when times are rough, but your dependency should never always be upon the government. Your dependency should be upon yourselves. And why there isn't no, income caps when it comes to these subsidies, I don't know. I think there should have been. I don't think a millionaire should have healthcare insurance because you should be able to afford it. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to actually afford paying your hospital bills, your doctor bills, because, and listen, nobody really wants their premiums to go up, and nobody really wants, their deductible to go up either. I think every American is on the same page with that. But Obamacare is riddled with fraud. It's riddled with problems. And yeah, we need to come together as Americans and find a way to fix our healthcare insurance problem. Our healthcare system is broke as well, but both of these got to be fixed. And the only way we're ever going to do that is by working together. A government shutdown benefits nobody. It hurts everybody. Yes, I'm all for small government. I'm all for, certain regulations when it comes to the healthcare insurance in industries, especially when it comes to income caps, as well as preventing these insurance companies from always raising the premiums. We got to make healthcare more affordable in this country too, and that starts with the institutions that provide it as well. We got to start regulating a little bit better, you know what I'm saying? Take away some regulation in certain areas is good, but when it comes to our healthcare, if we don't regulate the doctors and the hospitals and these clinics, we are literally sitting there allowing them to write a blank check. And that's what the Republicans were fighting against, was pretty much the Democrats want the subsidies to go to the insurance companies with no guarantee of premiums being raised down the road. And another thing, if you Congress members really did not want these to expire, how about you sign a new law that makes it permanent? Never sign law that has a sunset date unless if you're going to keep that sunset date. Now, do I think they're using this as a little leverage in order to get what they want because they got spanked in 2024? Maybe. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that were going down during COVID that were questionable. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of things being pushed that shouldn't have been pushed. There was a lot of fraud and abuse all the way around. But once again, nobody wins when our government shuts down, and nobody wins when we stop talking. And that's the real fact. That nobody in this country is going to win if we stop talking to one another. Start addressing the issues and holding our representatives and our senators responsible for their duties. We got to stop having activist judges in this country. Our country's more divided now than it's ever been. And I was talking to Cotton last night during the end of my live, and I was telling her that it's going to take a major event in this country, such as like a Pearl Harbor or a 9/11 style type of event, but on a bigger scale, to awake the American people that they're being tricked, to awake the American people that we are Americans, we all bleed red, white, and blue, and at the end of the day, it's not a left issue, it's not a right issue, it's an American issue. Because united we stand, and we can stand very strong as a united country. But the second this country started being pulled apart and started being divided, and people stop talking, people stop debating, violence happens. Civil war happens. Those are just facts. That's how the first Civil War started. And at the end of the day, we don't want a second one. Because we know what the outcome would be. Nobody will benefit from it. Do we have to lose millions and millions of more of Americans to a civil war for us to come to our senses that the government works for us, the people? And another thing, guys, little side rant, stop affirming people's mental illness. Start helping people. Get them the help that they need. This country has to get back on track. This country has to get right with God. You know, Scott Jennings, you know, he put him on blast. You don't want a king unless if you want a king. And the Democratic Party, the way they act sometimes makes me question if they really want a king. I mean, they just elected a communist into New York City, within New York City. And they're allowing these federal judges to be activists instead of focusing on real matters. We got to start making this country safer for the American people, more affordable for the American people. And we got to revive the American dream. That being said, I yield the floor. God bless you guys, and I'll see you all in the next.